There he is, the man of the hour. What's up? What's up,
What's
bud?
going on, boys? Couple Colbys for a cup of coffee in the morning, talking some hockey with Jonny Laz. Oh, there's my alarm going off. That's amateur hour.
Well, we're going to clarify for the next 30 minutes that Army is Army and Colby is Colby for the people that listen to this on audio only.
There you go.
Just so we don't confuse anyone. But Army, as we're talking here, we're talking about the Jake Guentzel rumors. I think there was also reports, that Sid said he'd be really upset if Guentzel does get traded or something. I don't know if that was fake or not, but you work closely with the Pens. So can you kind of touch on this a little bit?
I'm sure he's going to be upset. Like, there's no question.
Yeah.
Like, he's played with him for multiple years and had success and won.
He's not getting Marian Hossa in return, so
yeah. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But, yeah, he's not hauling in that kind of Hall of Fame stuff on trades, I guess. But it took me and a handful of other guys to do it. We got her done.
Do you get a cup ring for that, Arm Dog?
No, I got nothing.
I mean, you bring Hossa to Pittsburgh.
They lost that year.
They lost, though.
Oh, that was the year they lost.
Yeah, they won the next year, though. They won the next year.
When he left, too, right?
Yeah, when he was chasing it.
Oh,
and the third time was a charm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, but I don't know what I mean, all the rumors are tonight. I saw, like, well, who was saying that? It's all these insiders.
Everybody
right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's saying it. Like, there's no question he's going to get moved. Like, he's 29 years old. His contract's up. The team's is what it is. I think you have to at some point recoup something, and they've over the it's been great, man. It's been great. Like, I came back here in 2015 and it was like back-to-back cups when I retired back here and started working around the team. So, like, Pittsburgh fans are pretty spoiled with years and years of generational talent and being able to be around successful and winning teams and go to parades and everything and have some good playoff runs. And I think at this time and where they're at, like, you watch them play, like it's pretty inconsistent right now, like through the lineup. Sid's been unbelievable. Even Gino's had, really tough stretches this year at producing. And kind of the patchwork that's been done over the last couple years through a couple different general managers. It's been tough. The cupboards are fairly bare. Trying to keep your draft picks, trying not to give them away and still trying to go for it. Like, I loved it. I loved it. Like, Jimmy Rutherford was just a gunslinger. He was making moves like crazy. It was always like kind of all in all the time. And this might be something that I think Pens fans and the Penguins generally aren't used to at this time, or I think through Sid's career. Like, I don't think he's ever been in a spot where
never missed the playoffs twice in a row.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't missed the playoffs last year since his first year in the league. And so this is uncharted territory for the Penguins organization for a long time, through the entire careers of Letang, Malkin, and Crosby. So pretty amazing stuff, pretty great run. And if it's got to be a little bit of a sell-off time to try to, slap some, plug some of the holes and find some other guys and restock some of the cupboards and get younger. And Duba City wants to get younger. He wants to get younger and try to prop up some of those key guys that are a little older. And drive the ship. I think we've seen Drew O'Connor. He's been really good lately. Like, his game has really come on, but that's what he's talking about. Guys that can skate like that have that enthusiasm, that can kind of push it with some of the guys they're looking to kick around. So
Kakko would be perfect.
Kakko? Why you always try to get rid of Kakko? I follow you, Johnny. You pop up everywhere.
Guentzel.
Yeah. Guentzel for Kakko. Come on. This guy's a 40-goal scorer. Just good. I'll say this. Jake Guentzel, of all the remaining players, I'm sure someone will surprise and like pry someone out of somewhere that's like an unbelievable like addition. And I hear you guys, like, obviously hockey guys, talking about fit and how important fit is. Yeah. And something's going to, like, work out where some guy off the radar that isn't deemed, what we think is like the marquee guy will be the marquee guy and be a huge difference maker. There's no question. But I think if you're just looking on paper at everything and everyone that's available and just kind of the time where it's Jake Guentzel's, like, if you're a team rumored in some of the, like, what is it? Vancouver, Vegas, maybe Florida. I don't know. Some of these teams that are looking to, punch it over the top. The thing about him that I know just from watching him that's so good is his hockey IQ is really good. He's not a big guy, as we all know. He plays in really hard areas. He's really smart. He can play a 10-foot game. He can play quick strike off the rush. He's got a great shot. And I think he's really adaptable, like to playing with other guys, which I think makes him even more valuable because you can put him with whoever and you don't have to worry about him because he's really smart, crafty guy. So I've loved watching him play here. I've loved it. He's a really good, talented player, just really smart. I love the hockey IQ stuff, the thinking stuff, and he's got it. He's got it for sure.
If he goes to Florida, everyone else in the East is just going to sell.
Yeah, seriously, Florida's a machine.
Yeah,
they don't care. They're just in straight jackets. They take them off. They go out there. They play the game. They throw them back on. Hannibal Lecter masks and everything. They don't care.
They certainly look like a team that has separated itself from the pack, especially against that win, in New York the other night. And look, this trade deadline week is
that a shot at Johnny again?
Everything's a shot at me.
The next thing's a shot at Johnny, Army, because I know you have too much common sense for this one. And before we talk to you about your trade deadline stories and memories, I got to ask you the question that I ask every guest that comes on our show for the last couple of weeks, because Johnny's turned the entire New York fan base against me, and it's over his best friend, Alexis Lafreniere. I mean, Johnny has the poster above his bed. I mean, he's just carrying.
Got win on board.
He wrote 100 points on the bottom of the poster with a Sharpie.
Oh my God. It's aspirational wishful thinking. So we've already decided the guy's a good player. We all know he's finally looks like a top 6 full-time NHL player, a couple hundred games in. But Witt said the other day on Chicklets, I could see him getting 80 points. And Johnny's texting it to me like, see, everybody's in. But Johnny thinks he's 100-point scorer.
I know,
do you see this from this guy that he's a 100-point scorer?
I've loved what I've seen from him. I feel good about him. I do, because there was times where it was like, what's going to happen with this kid? He's going to be like, is he going to be a bust? Is he going to be able to figure it out? And like, he's not. He's not a bust.
I
think he's definitely hit a stride where he's figured it out, and he's an elite NHL player. There's no question. I'm softly setting that up. I'm softly setting it up for. I don't think he'll be a 100-point guy. I think I like that 85. I think he's an elite, smart player. He's making some unbelievable plays.
I'm gonna hold this over him forever.
Can he carry? Maybe he can carry his line through, certain chunks of games, but I don't he's not going to dominate on his own.
Let me ask you a question. If you're calling him elite, what do you call, I would refer to Crosby as elite, and
okay, I'll take that back. I would say on a video game, if it's elite, he's then pro.
Okay.
Okay.
I just needed to add, I was just because you might have different terminology. So I just wanted to.
I just think he's shown that he's pretty crafty, smart player. He's obviously can make things happen. He's skilled. He's got a great shot. And I think we've seen him kind of force himself into, a physical style of game for being a generally skilled guy. So I think he's kind of taken a step with that, with pushing himself into a slot that maybe last year or even a couple of years ago we didn't think he could ever get to. But I think he's and I think that's fine. I think that's great. I think having him as your number 1 overall pick, you'd want him to be generational, but he's not. He's a good player. He's a really good player. He'll be 80. I think I could see him getting in the 80s, 85.
All I'm saying is, if he ever is at that 95 range with 4 games to go,
you're gonna go crazy.
I'll be on to the live stream. It's gonna be a hell of a party,
buddy. I'll be actually pulling for you for it if that happens. I'll be right there, how you're at the Chicklets live events and all the little parties. I'll be sitting in the corner at the live show watching his last shot, trying to get a hundo.
I love when you told that story.
2 Colbys in the corner.
A couple weeks ago. Army's at the All-Star Chicklets meet and greet, and I'm just in the corner of the Chicklets meet and greet, fuck you, Army.
I just hear someone just motherfucking me. Usually people are pretty nice. I gotta say, I'm like, but like I hear this guy just giving it to me. I look over, it's him. I'm like, okay, yeah, finally someone I know here. So I just wheeled over and hung out with Johnny for a bit. Well, those are fun, man. I'm glad you show up to those. I took up roller hockey this year, Colbs, at the Chicklets Cup, first time ever playing like real roller hockey in a real rink. It was sick. We got to get you out to that, buddy.
Do you and like you go full rollerblades too? You're not just going rollsies.
Full rollsies.
No pads though. He's just in shorts and a bucket.
Oh no, I wore shinnies. Yeah, they were the perfect size. I took one of my kids, like my son, he's 13. I took his shinnies. Cruiser. Yeah, you met Cruiser at Frozen 4 in Tampa.
Yeah.
Are you going to be down this year again?
Oh yeah.
Let's go. We're going to be there. That'll be awesome. I'm looking forward. But his shinnies were like perfect size, so like go behind the tongue. So I was like white rollerblades, tongues out, little tight shinnies, just buzzing around. Just had it on a string. Boys.
I just got
an awesome weekend.
I just got a pair of. So I'll get on the rollerblades with the dog because it's the way to tire him out, and like I tried to do it with those Mars blades that those guys sent me, but there's no brake on those.
Yeah.
On those.
Yeah, you gotta learn how to
need the
stop,
Healy.
though,
you want the heel thing?
But I had to go out and get a pair of like dad blades with snaps and buckles.
The snap crankers.
Because I got a 70-pound golden retriever who was basically pulling me down and around the street. So like I got to have a break. So
does your dog hoof it and really pull you?
Dude, he's insane. When I put the rollerblades on, he thinks that like he's in a horse race. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I had this little, I rollerbladed all the time when I was a kid. I worked at like this greenhouse in Saskatoon. So like I'd rollerblade there. I get my buddies to punch the clock for me because I was always late because I was rollerblading. And he'd punch me in. So I get like an extra, because I was 15 minutes late, get that 15 minutes. I was on time, making that money, making that big coin. And, but I had this, we had this rescue Cocker Spaniel. Her name was Taffy. Just like couldn't brush her. You know how they have the scraggly ears and like the hair. She's like deathly afraid of brushes. Like her previous owner, probably, I don't know, something happened bad. But she was like a psycho. And she would rip me on my rollerblades. I would rollerblade everywhere. I did papers. I rollerblade to work. I carried my shoes in my hand. Like I loved it. And there were dad rollerblades I had too. Those old plastic booties with the liner on the inside with the.
That's what I'm using right now. Yeah. That's what I use.
There's nothing better than rollerblade in Brooklyn and getting the New York City skyline in the back. So whenever you guys are in New York,
I see you doing that, buddy.
We can rip it together whenever you guys.
Where is the Chicklets Roller Hockey Cup? There's one this summer, I assume.
Yeah, I'm assuming they're gonna do it again. It was pretty great. Like the people that showed up, I was surprised. Like hockey competition, even like the ball hockey stuff. I'm not doing that. Those guys are nuts. That's crazy. Roller's so much cooler, and like the vibe is cool. The guys are pretty good. There's like a couple heated competition moments, but like nothing crazy. But you think like the setup in Buffalo is great because it's like the bars are outside. It's super cool. It's all open air outside with like little roofs and everything. The weather wasn't great, but like everyone's boozing, like having a great time playing hockey and like hungover and doing the whole thing. And like not one incident, like nothing crazy happened. I was like surprised. I thought there'd for sure be some dummies in there like trying to throw down.
Well, the first game there was almost an incident because the corner of the rink was wet and we went sliding.
Oh yeah. That was true. That open air thing wasn't great because it was raining pretty hard.
Is Merle's just like Tim Connolly out there dangling around everyone or what? How's Merle's?
Merle's is sniping quite a few. Yeah, he was straight legging. He was straight legging hard, boys. Like
Tim Connolly-esque.
Yeah, he was like, I would say we're not in the best shape. I am down like 12 pounds though, boys.
I saw that. Someone was tweeting that to you on social media. I was like, all right, good for Arm Dog.
You might not be. You might not
call
be
you Kobe Next Strong.
Slim Dog. The Slim Dog.
It's funny.
Well, people are always texting me because you're on every network now, and people are like, when did you start working for this network? And I'm like, look, I don't know how many times I got to tell you. That's the Colby that works. I'm the Colby that doesn't. But I'd rather maybe these networks can start sending me your paychecks. You do the work, they can send your paychecks to my house. That's the arrangement that we need.
Oh, yeah, but this year's been nuts, though. Yeah, this year has been crazy. I've been all over the place. It's been great. I never say no, and I just keep, popping up here and there and taking odd jobs. I think it's been pretty good. And same for you guys, right? Like trying to do this stuff and, proud seeing you guys all the time, all over the place and my social feeds and popping up and getting to do Frozen 4 and all the different stuff you do, Johnny, with the Rangers and pods and different things. It's awesome.
What is it that you do again, Johnny?
I have a bunch of different jobs. We were
I see this guy everywhere. He's skating around interviewing guys.
Yeah, we were at a media tour together in Vegas. But I do want to reel it back in just a little bit, Army, because it is trade deadline week. You were a part of one, and Colby might make fun of me for kind of comparing it. I'm not trying to compare our situations at all, but when I left UMass, I chose to leave. I watched them go off to a national championship and they lost. You got traded from Pittsburgh. You watched them go to a cup final and they lost. That feeling of leaving a team and they're all your boys, like you're rooting for them, right? But there's a part of you that's like,
GM.
There's a part of you that's like, I hope, if they get it done, I'll fucking never live this down.
Oh yeah. So, that's why I feel bad for Witt, because Witt got traded the next year and they won. And I was like, oh,
that's
that
tough.
Sucks.
That
sucks. So for me, I was like kind of panicked. I was like heartbroken. I remember the first time I ever did TV too, I got asked by Sportsnet to come and do the final. And so they're like, hey, would you mind coming back to Pittsburgh and like just doing the panel with us? We have a setup outside across the street from the rink for the final. It'd be great for your insight, seeing as you're on the team a few months ago. I'm like, oh man, I was like at the keg getting slaughtered, like crushing fillets, like just loving life. And in the summer, obviously Atlanta, we don't make the playoffs, long summer. But I was like, oh, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe I should try this. But at the same time, I was like torn. I'm like, I can't go back there. These guys might win the cup and like, it's going to be rubbed in my face. It sucks. But I went back and did it. No joke. I went in the rink though, to watch a game because we were outside. Then went over and famous rink anthem singer Jeff Jimerson is singing the national anthem. There's like Stanley Cup logos swirling all over the rink and like lighting, and like the fans are going crazy at the Mellon, the old barn. And I started crying. I just started crying. I was like, shit, why did I come back here? This sucks. What am I doing? I'm a loser. But you know what? They won it that year. Or sorry, they lost the year. The next year they won. And I got married that summer, like the next week after they won in 2009, and like 8 guys came to my wedding, like a week after you win the Stanley Cup. Like, you got way better things to do than show up to my wedding in Atlanta. And these guys still showed up. So just great guys. I was devastated when I left. We just had a great crew. We all played, majority of us in the minors together, and kind of came up. So that was tough and like surprising. I think I got the story I share all the time is my mom called me when I got traded. She told me I got traded. I was sleeping. We were playing the Islanders that night and I was sleeping for the game, like pregame nap. And my mom called at like 3:02 and was like, what are you doing? I'm like, Mom, I got a game. And she's like, oh, you didn't hear? I'm like, oh no. I'm like,
what happened?
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I asked her, I'm like, where? And all she said is, oh, she goes, oh, my boy. And I go, Atlanta. And she goes, oh, my boy. Your mom, you could just tell like it wasn't going to be good news. But yeah, and then so like the shock value of that. So I think everyone's kind of going through it and rumors are swirling. I mean, I couldn't imagine now with social media. That is just a whole nother beast to have to deal with these guys, and information at the end of your fingertips, and guys getting information out so quick, whether it's right or wrong. Like, scoops are great. I love it. Like us now, for those guys it sucks, but for us it's great. Like, just chuck them out there. Just chuck out a trade.
Well, because Army, like, first off, Washington, the Caps just announced that they've re-signed Rasmus Sandin to a 5-year extension, AAV 4.6. So that just happened in the last couple of minutes. So they're doing a little bit of business. It's crazy how anytime a GM has a deadline, they have all this time to get these things done, but they can never agree until you have like a 24-hour deadline. But just to kind of go back and talk about what you're just talking about, like, so for me, I got traded once, but nowhere near the deadline. And I don't need to go into the story. Like it's not a good story. It's a phone call, whatever. I'm showing up for practice, whatever. We'll spare people that. But what I remember the most, Arm Dog, is like when I was in Providence in the American League and Boston was in a window where they were like, we could win. They won my first year getting traded there. I get to be a part of that team. The next year I'm back in the minors, but every trade deadline, the next couple of years, all the American League players that are prospects, all the draft picks, we just basically would sit around the training room, and Twitter wasn't really, Twitter was out, it was like 2012, 13, but people weren't really on it at that time. Yeah. So we would just sit there, and every time the phone rang in the trainer's room, everyone would just look at each other like, shit, who's going?
Because they're going for it. So the prospects are like throw-ins and getting every guys. One of us.
Joel Colborn, myself, this guy, Maxime Solvay, he was a second-round pick. Matt Barkowski, a Pittsburgh guy who
Bart, beauty.
Bart's the best. We would literally be sitting there in the training room, and like Trent Whitfield would be in there, who's an unreal guy. Yeah. I'm sure Whitter.
I skated with him in the summer. Yeah, great guy.
He's another Western Canadian boy. He's an assistant coach in Providence now. But we would just be sitting there, literally, like the phone would ring, and we'd be like, "Who is it? Shit."
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Who's going? And it was like just the Wild West those couple of days, sitting around after practice, waiting to see who was getting traded for whatever veteran, Chiarelli and Sweeney were bringing into the room. So
some guy, some trainer, like the assistant trainer, cracked open his staff-issued Hewlett-Packard laptop. It was all thick, like 4 inches thick, and like your trade trackering on the website that's just poorly designed. Yeah, those were the days. The old flip phones, and then less information maybe was a good thing. So I think there's so much stuff going on right now. Like it's just crazy. Like I was getting ready. I did the Pens game last night. Bad game. Penguins won though, but against Columbus, like it was just a bad game. And
got up to 2 minutes. It was 2-0. I came back. It was 2-2.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It was crazy. But like even before the game, like the rumor swirling about Guentzel, like I know he's not in the lineup, thankfully, because it's probably would be, crazy. Even the Markstrom stuff that I'm seeing, and he's playing like lights out pretty good through all of this and chirping in the media and still delivering on the ice. Like it's been pretty great. But it's just like a whole another animal, whole other beast with all the shows and talk shows and hockey talk shows and podcasts and insiders and tweets and social media. So what a landscape we've got going on right now.
What about the Target bathroom phone call story, Army?
Oh, when I got bought out?
We're being prompted in the chat to ask you about this story.
Is that Amal?
It is
my guy. Yeah, great guy. Yeah, I was taking a deuce at Target in the summer. And Berkey called me with the Leafs, telling me I was going to get bought out in my last year, my deal. And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, here we go. That was not a good moment in my life. I came out of there like it was just like probably my brother was at Target too. I was at a wedding. I was there for a wedding, just wasting time during the day. Went for Target for a quick twirl. You got to hit the Starbies on the way in. That probably got to me. Hey,
I was just going to say, you probably came out of the bathroom and said to Melissa, put everything back. I got bought out. We're not getting any of this useless shit.
Yeah, it actually worked out okay. I was getting buyout paychecks during the lockout when no one was getting money. So it actually worked out for me. So I still had the checks rolling in and then signed a deal in Montreal, my favorite team growing up as a kid. But I want the trade deadline though. Like, that was in the summertime, and I know, Johnny, I saw you at the draft in Nashville. What a time that was! I love that. By the way, I love how they did that. I want them to make the trade deadline awesome. I want the trade deadline to be way like the salary cap's obviously handcuffing of what they're trying to do and limits everybody, which sucks. I hate it. Like the bean counting and like, trying to like get out of here. Let's do hockey. And I want the trade deadline to be like way more impactful and way more open and way more fun for, people like us. And I know they like to go, we'll get it done in the summer and maybe the draft. We always hear this too. Lots of fireworks are going to happen at the draft. I feel like there's like no fireworks at the draft really. Like when like Gary comes up and announces like we have a trade, like 25th pick in exchange for the 46th
and everybody just boos. So
yeah, and it's like, oh, I want deals, I want moves, I want trades. Like it's exciting, it's fun. I think fans love it. So
Cutter Gauthier should have just told Philly right off the bat at the draft, "Hey, I'm not coming." So
yeah,
somewhere else.
Don't
go down to the table.
Eli Manning, right? When he got drafted in the NFL, he said, "Nope, I ain't coming." And then
who didn't go down? Mario didn't go down to the table. I don't think Big E wouldn't put the jersey on with the
Quebec. Yeah, he wouldn't do it. He just held the jersey.
Yeah, like that. Tell Macklin to refuse the team that drafts him this year.
Yeah, can you imagine? That'd be something else.
Man.
But Army, speaking of the draft, I have an Army story that I got to share with, and Ranger fans are going to love this. The first time I met you was in Nashville. We had gone back and forth on social media and whatnot, but like we didn't know each other.
Yeah.
Arnie loves to slide into those DMs.
No, I think it was just like I was feeding game notes, Hurricanes, Islanders under first period bets that entire first round.
Oh yeah, you were on fire.
All 6 games.
Yeah,
so they were thanking me for that. But within 10 minutes of meeting Army, I'm like, yeah, big Ranger fan, like blah, blah. I kind of give him my background. And he goes, oh, Rick Nash is over there. Want to go meet him? And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to. He walks me over to Rick Nash. Army goes, what's up, Nasher? This is Johnny. He works with the league. He's a big Ranger fan. He's probably going to jizz in his pants after he shakes your hand. And I'm just like, hey, Rick, nice to meet you.
Like, big jock sniffer, huge Rangers jock sniffer, big Nasher just sitting there hanging out. Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was good. All the Columbus guys were hanging out there with us.
Army, you should have heard what he said to Mark Messier at PK's party that night.
Oh God, I got to hear this. You were probably losing it.
Oh, tell him, Johnny. Tell him what you said.
It was like 3 a.m. It was like the missing curfew party. They had a party, and I went up to Mess. Well, my friend Anadu was like, "You want to meet Mess?" And I'm like, "No, like not right now, not at all."
Because you were just not feeling your best, like impression.
I was just drunk. I was like, you know, like this is not how I want to meet the guy who like. I looked up to my entire life, like not
the
now.
Moose, yeah.
And I walk up to him and I'm like, "Hey, Mess, I'm Johnny. I wrote in my 5th grade yearbook that you were my hero."
Poor guy.
That is such jock sniffer,
dude. So bad.
Such jock sniffer opening line. That's great, buddy.
You'll appreciate this, Army. I had a Big Deal Brewing shirt on when I hopped on the computer. Take that shit off right now, you kiss ass.
Yeah, I love that. I love that story. Actually, I get jammed up not too often. Like, I think it's surprising a little bit to hear that you got jammed up with Messier, but I get it because you guys are both pretty good talkers and comfortable around people and hanging out with you guys. I get jammed up around Mario. Like I literally, it's like you just stare at him. It's like a weird thing. It's like he has like an aura or a presence. I got jammed up. I was working a game and Kirk Muller. I grew up like a Montreal fan, and Kirk Muller, Captain Kirk. And I remember playing against Montreal Canadiens when he's assistant coach and stuff, and like seeing him on the bench, like looking at our warm-ups, like marking lines and being like, "Oh shit, there's Kirk Muller. Holy crap." And I never met him. I've never even said hi to him, nothing. St. Louis comes to town. And Panger's in the stands. I'm talking to Panger. He's like, "Hey, big boy, how you doing, big boy?" Yeah. He's getting her going. He's like the best guy. And I'm like, I cut him off. I'm like, Kirk Muller's now in the stands. He's coming up to watch like morning skate of the Penguins skate. And I'm like, oh my God, there's Kirk Muller. And he's like, "Oh, you never met Kirky?" I go, "No, I never met him. He's my favorite player." "Oh, Kirky, great guy. I'll go get Kirky. Say hi to Kirky." I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, Panger. So he goes and gets him. He comes up, nicest guy, big smile, just like a stud, just like amazing. And I was like, I went to like shake his hand and like try to talk to him, and I couldn't even barely talk to Kirk Muller. So I had that moment, buddy. Mm-hmm. At least you told him a little tidbit about yourself. Yeah. I was like, literally, I was like, "Hi."
I would have rather that.
I kind of have. I've had those moments with Joe Sakic, and he's the nicest. Yeah. He's the nicest guy ever. But like that was the poster that I had in my room growing up, and then I get out to Colorado, and he's there, he's around, and even now, like when I see him and know him now, I still like get a little. It's
Joe Sakic, man.
You just get a little geeky around him, He's just Joe Sakic, exactly.
Yeah, Steve Yzerman and like those era of guys for me are like those stars. It's lights out. It's like I go straight Jonny Laz style. Just
Well, they were. It was more mysterious.
I feel the same now around Alexis Lafreniere.
it was more mysterious at that point too, because like it's not like we could go to their Instagram and see what their life is like. Now you can go to their Instagram and you feel like you know somebody, even though you don't, because Instagram's not real, but you at least are like, oh, like they're away, they're here, they go there. Like back then, if you weren't able to drink and go to a bar, you were never running into an NHL player.
Yeah.
So it was just there was so much more mystique around these guys.
Like you saw them on like TV on Saturday night and your hockey cards that you collected. And that was it.
Yeah.
And like you read the back of the card. That's the only info you knew on the guy.
And it was like posting about prime drink on Instagram.
The world's a different world, boys. What a day. What are you guys looking for? What are you guys looking for in the next couple of days? I also think like the Mantha trade yesterday, boo, like whatever, save it for Friday. I just want a big conglomeration of an insane day. Like just, there should be a rule. Yeah, you can make the trade. People will leak it. I'm sure people will leak it. People, those insiders, they get everything. Those guys are nuts. You see on Chicklets the other day, Elliot Friedman, the latest episode, talked about he's on his phone. His phone data told him he's on his phone 17 hours a day.
Oh my God.
That's insane. You get cauliflower ear from that shit.
Mine's like 3.5 hours, and I thought it was too much.
Yeah, that's insane. Like, get out of here.
I'm ripping 17 straight hours of Hinge. I know.
Hey, does Lafreniere follow you on social media, Johnny?
He's not nice to Johnny. He's mean to him. Like in media, he's not even nice to him. And Johnny's his biggest defender on the internet. He's got TNT Twitter accounts tweeting the road to 100, and Loft still won't give him the time of day.
He won't follow you, won't chuck you a follow?
I'm not asking for one. I'd rather him not.
I know you're not. But
he wants a signed jersey, Arm Dog, not a follow.
No, I just want the 100 points, man. That's all I want. That's it.
You want the 100-point cloud.
So I can dunk on everyone on social media and then just I'll delete Twitter that
That's
day.
what we all do.
Here, this is a perfect segue, Arm Dog. We're gonna let you go in a minute, and you've been super gracious with your time. But we want to
you guys.
Johnny, go to our Tim's tweet of the night, because I think it'll probably give a couple of laughs to Arm Dog before we let him go. So take us to it, Johnny.
So Army, just for a backstory, we always pick a tweet of the night, something that makes us laugh, something that's funny, or even something that's like a terrible take. You know, it's everything in between. Tim Hortons tweet of the night.
Okay, I thought it was going to be Heat Daddy's tweets. I was like, oh shit, where are we going with this?
Can't do those.
No. But so this is last night's Tim Hortons tweet of the night. Roll Up to Win is back for Tim's 60th anniversary. Celebrate our big year with some big prizes: an all-electric Volkswagen ID4, a sun-soaked Hilton getaway, and cash with a daily jackpot of $10,000. Play today on the Tim's app. So this is last night's Tim Hortons tweet of the night. And we haven't talked about Stankoven yet, but he might be the best deadline pickup.
Don't get me going on these guys. Western leaguers, like, get me going. Okay, I'll start it up. So it started, boys.
A shout out to Pizza Sports Guy. I tweeted last night that 75% I was joking, but is it too late for Logan Stankoven to win the Calder? He's got 4 goals in 6 games. Pizza Sports Guy goes, you think he beats out Devin Levi? Devin Levi was my pick to win Rookie of the Year this year. That backfired completely. And then Colby had to chime in. So after Colby chimed in, I'll let you take it from here, Colby.
Well, I just said, no, he might not. He could probably catch Lafreniere, because we know Johnny's love affair with a guy who has 16 goals this year. 100. That reeks of 100 points. 16 goals. And then our guy Pizza Sports Guy, who's an Islanders fan. He's always in the chat. He's always supporting our show. He's
always shitting on me,
dunking on Johnny all the time. He's my favorite guy for that reason. He always dunks on Johnny.
That's such a good name. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Like Johnny Drama.
Colby's been calling me Johnny. What is it? Johnny Marshmallow. Johnny
Drama.
Well, Arm Dog. It's either Johnny Drama.
Johnny Drama though. My middle name is Chase, so like it is Johnny Chase. Like that is
okay. So it's either Johnny Drama or Johnny Sunshine and Rainbows when he's being Mr. He's just living on the glimpses. He loves to live on a player had a glimpse, so they're going to be this or that. It's all sunshine and rainbows for Johnny Drama.
Positive guy.
Johnny, tomorrow's episode, like Logan Stankoven for Art Ross. Is that the latest call? He's on fire though. Like this kid, he lit up the A. I was going to say the Western League guys though, like Rempe, your Ranger guy, the Rempire State Building. He's come in. He's just started making his presence felt. He's got a goal, got chipped in a little bit here and there, but just running bodies, making guys fight him, all that stuff. Love it. Western guy. Logan Stankoven.
I want him in the playoffs.
Western guy.
Rempe. I want him to play in playoffs. Like,
I'd love to see him.
Yeah,
I'd love to see him in a few years. I like he looks crazily gangly right now. I think I called him the Slender Man on our pod. He's just so tall and skinny. It says he's like 230 or 240. Of course, he's 6'8", but yeah, he can get going. He gets hoofing around out there. Big boy. But it started with the cross check to the head in that Leafs Sens game. Ridley Gregg, Western boy, cross check in the head. Morgan Riley, Western boy, and now we just got Western insanity. You see Shanner throw down with Anderson last night. Just lefties, wango. Like, it's back. Fighting's back. Playoff hockey's back. Western guys are back. I love hockey's back. And you know what? Western guys, if you're a GM out there and you want to win and you want hard-nosed, good, real hockey, go find some Western guys in your lineup. You don't need a lot of them because it might ruin your team, but you need a few of them.
That was always the stigma as we show this fight that Arm Dog was talking about. But like, that's what we always heard about Major Junior, was that the Western League was the toughest of the major junior leagues. Like, that was always, again, pre-social media. We didn't have video. We didn't have iPhones. And it was always like, the OHL, you can score a lot. The Q is probably the softest, but the Western League is the Western League is where Jesus,
the
men come out of.
Yeah, I got questioned that at my draft, actually. I got, like, the interview process and everything, and the guy asked me if the Western League's the toughest, and I was like, I thought it was like a softball question. I was like, oh, of course, like casually. And he just started rattling off like multiple major heavyweights that have played the NHL from the Q, like all French guys. Like, I was like, oh shit, maybe you got to play. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Here, Larocque, all those guys, right?
He went through the list of guys, and I was like, he named like 10 guys off the top of his head, and I was like, okay, trick question, you got me. Like,
You mentioned the Q, the Western League. My brother-in-law Josh just texted me. Colby Armstrong's voice is Canada.
I sound like a Sasky hick, eh? I love it.
You're just Canada, dude.
I love it. I sound like a full
before we do let you go, I got one more thing for you, because Grinelli is nonstop texting me this whole time that you've been on. When is your son committing to Penn State? I heard we're trying to.
G's the what do they call them? Advisors now? You can't. Yeah, he's an advisor.
No, he can be an agent now. The rules are gone. You can be an agent. G can be Cruz's agent, no doubt. No doubt.
G's taking pictures of him out of our family photo album for like NIL purposes and everything. He's right on the case. He's on it hard right now, doing his Chicklets U tour. So, yeah, he went out to Penn State, and I know a couple people out there that were helping him set it up and do it. I've been out there with my son's games and seen the rink and stuff and the setup, and like pretty quiet little town, but I imagine it's probably awesome in those kinds of settings for college, just because you're so insulated in this.
It's bubble. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was my dream school.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it's a program that's like taken off. And I mean, what were they, 1 goal away from beating Michigan to go to the
last year? It's been impressive what they've done. This year has been a struggle for them, but ultimately, like, they have the resources to be a powerhouse. I mean, look, I grew up in the Philly area. You live in the Pittsburgh area. Every good hockey player in the state of Pennsylvania should be going to Penn State. And it should be like the BUBC guys from Boston. Like, that's where you go. It's just like the Minnesota guys go to Minnesota. Like, it should be like, this is what I'm doing if I'm from this area.
Well, I don't know. You know better about Philly. We play some of these Philly teams, and they got some good kids. They got some good players. So I think hockey's on the rise. USA hockey, as we know, is on the rise big time. And Cooley's cousin Mooney at the National Development Program, I think he's playing up now.
He's going to Mini.
Yeah, he's really good, committed to Mini. I think they were hard after him at Penn State for a reason. He's from Pittsburgh. Great little player. I can't wait to see what happens with him. But I think hockey's on the rise, and obviously recruiting's huge. I think if they get a couple studs, like if they could have got like Mooney, like
that would have been a big deal.
It would have been huge, because you know how guys are. They see someone goes there and then they start to follow. So maybe that starts to pick up recruiting for Penn State, and maybe Cruiser's the guy to get her going. He's got some work to do, though. He's got some work. We got Mid-Ams this weekend, boys.
I'm just gonna ask you, what's his hockey like? Where are you guys at with your season? Because I know districts are coming up, and we're coming into nationals in the next couple of weeks for youth hockey.
Yeah, mid-ams are here right now. This weekend will start on Friday night through the weekend. So I think they've got to run the table there all weekend long, and then you come out of there, and then nationals for his age group, 2010 age group only. So they're pretty young still. Just getting some armpit hair. The little sizzler mustache, just the little flakers on the side here. The little teen stashes are starting to roll in.
That's what I still have. So
yeah, me too. I got the neck beard. But yeah, nationals are in Detroit, so pretty good little hockey town. That'd be great to go there if the boys can pull it off. But yeah, it's wild. Youth hockey's wild, but it's that time of the year. They're getting mullets all put in now. They're getting the haircuts rolling.
He's not in high school yet, is he?
No, not yet.
Okay, because I'll tell you what, as a PA, my freshman year, I played in the state championship, the Flyers Cup versus Penguins Cup winner. And it was awesome out in Johnstown, PA. I remember the game was. Yeah, we won a state championship that year. It was a lot of fun. Tons of students go to that. It's a blast. So.
That's new for me. High school hockey's new. I love like the Minnesota thing, and it's awesome. But they're blessed to have truly that the way that is. It's like no other place. It's not the same here. I feel like hockey,
not
and
even
high school
close,
hockey,
Army,
and
not even close.
Yeah, and these like academies and these different things are like putting an end to that in a lot of different areas just because they're stealing all the guys. But it's been a fun ride. Hopefully the boys have a good finish. Hockey dad's not easy. It's not easy dealing with all the other parents.
You yelling at the coaches about ice time for your kid or what?
No. I'm banging my head against the wall talking to some of our hockey dads that, it's like talking to a brick wall, just smashing my head against the wall, like to understand like the process and like just, not getting it. So it's been fun though. Everyone's good. It's cool going through it. Like this is my first time. He's my oldest kid. And I'm sure we could go on and on about youth hockey and all the craziness. It's always fun.
I work with a U18 team around here, and man, it's insanity. Our nationals, we've got to win a 2 out of 3 in a couple of weekends. We got the bye through the district, and our nationals are in Vegas.
I heard about that.
Regionals and Frozen Four the week between in Vegas. So 2 wins, and we're off to Vegas for a couple of days before. I
went out to a Youngstown Phantoms game the other day and ran into a couple scouts out there. Watching, and they were bragging that those are in Vegas this year because they get to go scout. Like pretty good place for a scout to head off to. That's awesome. I love hockey.
Vegas.
Hockey's the best. We got it all going on, boys. You guys are killing it. It's awesome. Can I pump my show on Friday?
Yeah. We're actually going to give you the time to do that. We're never going to let you go. We're got another hour of the show, it seems like.
Oh, do we?
No, not actually. But yeah, plug your show Friday.
Huge announcement. First ever game notes, Chicklets game notes trade deadline extravaganza is coming your way on Friday. It's a 1 to 3. We're going to cover the last few hours of it. We're going to have guests on. I'm sure G will be reaching out, cover some of the bigger teams in the league. Of course, you're in Philly. Colb's your Rangers jock sniffer, so like some insights on some of the moves some of these teams are making. And we're flipping the deadline game on its head. We're just going to give her. Me and Merles will be dialed in. G will be popping in. We'll have some great guests. Game notes, trade deadline, extravaganza, Friday, 1 to 3.
Singsy breaking all mark to the Devils or what?
Singsy will be all over. I should get him on the show as a guest. He is dialed in. If I let him out of my basement in time.
He likes to go at Johnny. So he's always him and I are always going back and forth. Oh, he's always giving me good stuff to go at Johnny about. Like he's my secret assassin, Singsy. He hangs out in the background and just feeds me stuff to get at Johnny.
Like this guy runs our show's chat, like you guys' chat. Like he runs our show's chat. He's the captain of the chat. He's unbelievable. He's captain of multiple chats, I think, on multiple shows. I don't know how he does it. He runs like a pretty successful thing, like buying companies, I think. Like he's a pretty like amazing guy to
smart.
find. He's super really smart, cool guy. I love getting to know him. And he still finds time, like coming out of work meetings and work calls or in like he still finds time to like pop in and like run the chat and get it going, fire it up. He's always involved. So yeah, pretty good community we've built, as I'm sure you guys have come to find doing this with your guys' show. And Pretty thankful. Hockey's pretty awesome. I could be digging ditches in Saskatchewan, boys, but instead I'm just talking about the greatest game and God's green earth, and Western boys are back, baby. Western boys.
Still collecting severance from the Leafs. That's why you're able to do it.
You saw the payroll. Did Darcy Tucker come off the payroll yet?
I don't know. No idea.
I know he came off like 3 years ago. He was on that ultimate buyout where it's like the Bobby Bonilla. You got like $1 million every year.
Pretty sure DiPietro
on the Rick DiPietro contract.
Oh, is he still rolling? Is DiPietro still in the books?
All right. I did want to ask you about a certain guy, but I don't want to keep you again. But like one of my favorite players growing up was Ilia Kovalchuk. I feel like he never gets talked about. But like,
buddy, I know, right?
Yeah.
You know what the coolest thing for me was being around a guy that scores 50 or scores like him. And like seeing it, like it's like being Ovi's teammate kind of, or like what Matthews is kind of doing, even a little step up what Matthews is doing and what Ovi has done. But to be around a guy that's like tucking 50, it's like literally it's like he scores every night. It's insane. Sick. But the coolest thing about Colby that a lot of people don't know is he's a really fun guy to be around. Like he likes to laugh. He loves going for dinner on the road. Like he was really fun. He definitely beat to his own drum a little bit in regards to like when he wanted to show up and when he didn't a little bit. But it was cool to be around a guy that was so different. Like, you know, I feel like a lot now, all the players are the same more than ever. Yeah. Like I think it's the training and, you know, back to youth hockey and how everyone's coming up, skills coaches, all this bullshit and all this money grabbing bullshit. And but like he truly looked different, like with his size, his hands, his little stick, the big curve, like the visor, the jersey tuck. Like you know how guys just used to look like that from like the Sakic's of our fanhood generation. Like the stars looked so different and cool. He had that look, and yeah, it was cool to be around him. He was what he was like 235, like 6'2".
He was just a
235, big Russian bear, could skate like the wind. And he'd take like the longest shifts too. I remember one time he was out for like a 3-minute twirl. Goalie was pulled though. He isn't coming off. He looked dog tired, just in our end the whole time. And then poof, the puck breaks out. Never seen a faster skater in my life. I get that.
That's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, not a lot of people ask about him, Johnny. Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
his stick handling was ridiculous.
Oh,
and he used to wear like those Nike skates too, and like there was he was like one of the first guys to wear Warrior, if I remember right.
Yeah, he was all Warrior.
Yeah. And so he kind of made Warrior cool because of how skilled he was. That was a smart play by Warrior actually to go for him. And I think it was when he was in Atlanta.
Yeah. And he was like a flashy player too. So I think, in regards to like marketing on a pretty flashy, cool looking player, he had such a short stick though for like that like little pocket shot that he had where he'd set up with that little oneie. He just bleed a little oneie right back across the grain under the glove. Is pretty nasty how he did it with that curve, but yeah, electric player.
Did he just carry stacks of cash around for the card game on the plane too? Some of those Russian guys would get on the plane with like 20,000 cash in their freaking pocket.
He loved to get it going and like standard, like Russian style, like the name, like the sick Dolce shirt with the Dolce belt and the Gucci shoes.
Labels everywhere. Those guys love their labels.
Just love it.
Always. But Army, I told you we needed you for 2030. We have you for like 50 here. We can't thank you enough. And we actually might be doing something at the Frozen Four. We're trying to figure out a way to do a live show there. So maybe we can get you back on.
I can't wait to see you guys there. I'll be looking forward to it.
Maybe this time around the interview won't get messed up. The chick.
Yeah, with losing the card. I got so sunburnt during the interview with Colby too. Like, excuse me.
Oh, I saw that on the boat, right?
We got the coffee throat going.
Tampa?
Yeah, we were on the boat. We asked the guy if we could like get on his yacht to like do an interview with Colby. The guy's like, yeah, no problem. Got on there. It was so cool. But where I was positioned for the interview, I was like in the sun. I'm not made for the sun at all. I was just lathering it up. And I was like, I'm still fat, but I was like fat. I just looked like a greased fat pig at the time, like just sitting there in the sun baking. But what
I
a
got
time.
A lot of shit for that.
Why?
Because people saw on Instagram that we were doing the interview, and then people were texting me like, when's it coming out? Like, why?
I don't know when. Why isn't it?
And they're giving me shit. They're like, oh, the interview must have been so bad that they didn't want to put it out. And I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I just, they said, let's do it on this boat. I was like, yeah, let's go.
We may have had a memory card issue.
I got a lot of shit for that. They're like, oh my God, that interview.
We'll have to redo it. At least we'll have to redo it. And we'll have to think of a cool theme in Minnesota. I don't know. We won't have yachts around. I think they should probably do it in Tampa every year. That was like the most amazing.
Every year.
And the funniest thing, what were the teams there? It was like Michigan. Who else was there?
Minnesota,
Quinnipiac, Minnesota. Yeah. It was like all those like Northeastern or like really northern schools of all their fan bases of like pasty winter white people. And everyone was lobster red down there. It was hilarious. Just taking
cargo shorts everywhere.
I've never been to Tampa. Never been.
Yeah, buddy, it's the greatest setup, man. It's the greatest with the hotels there and like the water and the harbor.
You got Jackson's right there.
We crushed that place all the time.
That place right next to it,
American Social, right?
Yeah, those places are awesome.
And it was cool hanging out with you and Bucci and Barry Melrose were kicking around, obviously, and hanging out with you guys. That was so cool. I got my Bucci support Barry Melrose t-shirt the other day. I wore it on the pod. Pretty cool.
They've got new. Butchie's got new stuff on his on the website. Actually, they're golf ball markers.
Oh, nice.
And they could be like poker chip golf ball markers, and you can get it. It says knockout Parkinson's and Butchie OT. They're in on the website now too. So all that money is going to go towards finding a cure and doing whatever we can here to help Barry just as much as any of us can, because when you talk about legends in hockey, Barry Melrose he's as high up that list as anyone.
Buddy, you and Bucci walked in and like I saw you guys, but I was just like I was having like a Kirk Muller kind of there's the Sasky boy Barry Melrose right there. He's just a legend. So it was cool sitting down having a couple cocktails with those guys, you guys there, talking about the tournament and just a great hockey guy. Go support that cause for sure. Shirts are cool, the golf balls, markers are cool. So thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Army. We look forward to doing this again, and
thanks to producer Amel. Beauty, enjoy it, boys. Morning cup of hockey. Here we go. Let's go.
And we'll be tuning in on Friday for the trade deadline show. I'm excited to
1 to 3 awesome. Trade deadline extravaganza. Chicklets game notes. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, bud. Army.